Alright, hello everyone! And welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert. Last time we got a flash to the future, and now we're figuring out what the fuck the circumstances were that led to all that shit, so,
Yeah. Are we the Attorney of the Arcane, or the Attorney of the Addams family?
That's a good question. Let's find out today, shall we?
The answer is
Does the Addams family need a defense attorney, though?
No, they don't, really. They really don't.
Anyways, I don't know who this is, so... come on, Tracker, where are you? Got you! As you enter Beatrice's room, you're unexpectedly met with a large cloud of dust.
Wow. This place has not been cleaned.
Oh, who the hell? Love your design, hello?
Hello, cute. What? I mean, what?
Your vision clears up, and you realize that there's someone else in the room with you.
Oh,
this is the other sister. This is the middle sister, I think. I think we have seen her before. She was mentioned a couple times. Sorry, didn't mean to intrude.
There's no need to apologize.
Oh, for sure.
But I would like to know what you're doing here.
Well, yeah. Fuck
way
off!
Way I figure it, I'm not going to get Steelwind this case.
Weren't you also
That's
doing...
true, that's true.
That's true, but weren't you also doing the older sister?
Okay, yes, that is valid. Okay.
I mean, you can do
don't
it for
know
this
that.
scene.
You don't know that Steelwind's not going to show up. She could just show up in the middle of the case with a fucking steel chair for all we know.
She might show up as a witness.
You might actually.
And here comes Steelwind with a steel chair!
She might show up as a...
out of nowhere.
She might literally show up as a witness later, because she's probably going to testify as to, like, how she got attacked. That might come up later, but we'll see.
But yeah, go ahead and take her.
We're here on behalf of the Crown Prince. We're investigating the murder of William Frege.
Oh, I see. Wait a minute. I just also realized I'm playing frickin' Rose.
It's fine, don't worry about it.
You're also playing the defense attorney.
Yeah,
oh, that's
what
true. Yeah.
That's what I was meaning.
Yeah.
Ruby.
Ruby, there you go. My apologies, I
easy to confuse.
didn't quite get your name. Yep, there we go. Yeah, we've heard her mentioned a couple times before. Again, we can figure out who's playing who. We can figure out who's playing who later, just
Someone...
stick to it.
My name is Laef.
Lafay, I think.
Lafay.
Lafay. Yeah, it's Lafay.
Lafay Frege. Noble. So this is Lafay. According to Steelwind, she was the last person to see Lord Frege alive yesterday. She might have some information about how he was acting that night. Sorry for your loss, Lady Frege, but do you mind if I ask you some questions about last night?
Of course.
Prosecutor Steelwind told us that you were the last person to see him alive. Did you notice anything unusual about your father's behavior?
Well, he was extremely upset about something. I think Beatrice may have offended him during their meeting. The servants said that he wanted to be left alone. He retreated into his study immediately after their meeting. I tried to speak with him when the theft was reported, but he didn't much care about the missing artifact. He was probably busy making the changes to his will. He told me to leave him alone and let the Kind's Guard investigate the sword.
Now that's an interesting thought. When did you speak with him last?
It was before they activated the lockdown. A little after 1 a.m. that night.
And And you have any idea what he was doing in his study?
What? No, I have no idea.
You detect some fear from her. Lady Freyga, is there something you're not telling us? It's important that we know what your father's doing before his death.
I'm sorry, I don't know anything else. My father was a private man and didn't share much with anyone, even his own family. Wish I could be more help, but I don't know anything else. I refuse to believe that's why he was killed.
Yeah, she's clearly holding something back. If you can reveal what she's hiding through an argument, she might be more willing to cooperate, but you'll need more information about William and his will first. In the meantime, you should figure out what else she knows. I noticed that this room hasn't been cleaned recently. Do you know why?
Because I've forbidden the servants from cleaning this room.
And why would you do that?
Beatrice is very dear to me, and I couldn't have her room disturbed after she left. This room was the only memory I had of her after she left.
You suppose that makes sense? She must have been holding on to the hope that her sister would return. And what about the Sword of Spell Eating? Do you know how it ended up in this room?
I'm not sure. Possible someone planted it here to frame Beatrice. Can't say why they would choose this room, though. I just realized something.
Hmm?
You know, during the lockdown, how... I believe they mentioned that during the lockdown that they had anti-magic up.
Yes.
And we know that the Sword of Spell Eating is anti-magic.
Yeah.
If they tried using the Sword of Spell Eating to go into the... to quote-unquote, unmagic the lock into the study,
It would
We've
reactivate the
mentioned-
lock. Yeah.
it would reactivate the lock.
Yep.
We've had to talk about anti-magic affecting anti-magic to make magic again.
It's
So that-
definitely more likely that somebody used an anti-magic field of their own to, like, be able to cast magic.
It's weird.
Yep, it's trippy, but we'll get to that. Anyways, what kind
Sorry.
of person was your father? Doesn't look like William Frege was very beloved.
My father was a complicated man. He was a brilliant scholar and businessman, but he was a cold and distant father.
I see. Did he have any enemies?
As the head of House Frege, he controlled nearly every banking house in Wyvern Guard. There were many people who resented his wealth and power.
Can you remember anyone specific? Perhaps someone that he slighted recently?
There was Lord von Sanctus.
The ruling lord of Ornex?
Yes, I heard that he was recently involved in a court case. My father had been using the controversy as an opportunity to slowly take control of von Sanctus Industries. And from what I've heard, he's been extremely bitter about that.
Von Sanctus's reputation must have taken a hit after the Dracogen trials. You doubt he'd get himself involved in another murder, but you can never be too sure. You'll want to speak with him again to get more details.
I get to voice von Sanctus
Although, would he even consider cooperating with you? Anyway, are there any enemies are there any other enemies he might have had?
No, none that I can think of.
Oh, by
If
the
I
way,
get-
did you know that I'm an attorney?
I am so excited if I get to voice von Sanctus again.
What can you tell me about Beatrice Frege? I heard that she fled the Frege estate 5 years ago.
I need to turn my noise suppression off.
Yeah.
Before she left, Beatrice was one of the most powerful mages I've ever seen.
Some reason
What?
that made you less clear while doing that voice.
I have no idea how. Hello?
Hello? Yeah?
This is with it on. This is with it off.
Yeah, no, it's eating you with it off. What the fuck?
What?
I don't know. Keep it on for now, I guess.
Well,
You just might need to lean into the mic a little more.
I am
What?
moving my mic directly in front of my face.
Yeah, there you go.
Before she left, Beatrice was one of the most powerful mages I'd ever seen. She is incredible. At the age of 13, her talent for magic had even eclipsed my father's. But it was never enough for him.
What do you mean?
Before my mother died, he desperately wanted a son, but he only ever had daughters. Everyone thought Beatrice would inherit House Frege from my father, but our family knew the truth. William Frege would never leave his legacy in the hands of a woman.
Oh.
I am going to...
Oof.
I know he's already dead, but I'm going to snap his neck.
Misogyny, I see. By the way,
I'm not...
Sai? Is
She's
Sai here?
typing.
Sorry, I'm responding to War Boss.
Oh.
You know?
Blame War Boss.
What?
We always do.
What?
What do you
If he
mean?
was-
What?
If he was so upset about like leaving his future in the hands of a woman, he should have invested more in transmutation magic.
I know, right?
Oh, that is fucking layered. That is a layered joke.
That is. Oh my gosh! I just realized. Holy crap!
That's very funny. That's very
Holy
good.
crap!
That's very good.
That has several layers to it.
Is it just like transitioning just human alchemy?
Holy crap!
Listen,
Man.
alter self exists. That's all I'll say.
Where can I learn that spell?
No matter how hard Beatrice tried, my father would never acknowledge her accomplishments. He was extremely cruel to her, constantly belittled her achievements, and dismissed everything she said to him. After the accident, he used her disability as an excuse to take away the little influence she had.
It was an accident that gave her a disability? Is that why she's blind? If it's not too painful for you, could you tell me more about Beatrice's accident?
Is this even relevant to the investigation?
Any small detail could make a difference. I need to learn everything I can.
I'm not sure about exactly what happened, but it was a magical experiment gone wrong. Beatrice was working on a project at the Imperial Academy. She was trying to create a new spell. We're still not sure what happened, but there was an adverse magical reaction. The resulting explosion injured her and left her completely blind.
I can't imagine how she must have taken that.
Actually, she was probably the most unfazed by what happened. But that didn't matter. My father saw his opportunity. He told me that he was relieving her of her duties so that she could recover. But I knew the truth. He was going to take away her political power and social standing. She was reduced to a mere decoration for our home.
That must have been why she left. Did she contact you during the time she was missing?
No. No one heard from her during that time. As much as I was worried for her, I was also a little happy. Unlike Miriam and I, she had finally broken free from our father. I had no idea what would cause her to return here.
God, what a fucking asshole.
Very.
Hey, do you want to see this asshole's dead fucking body?
Man, he was my father, but I can't say I have fond memories of him.
He must have been difficult to work with.
You have no idea. I was gonna say that before I... He was cruel and tyrannical, only ever cared about his own legacy. He was sexist.
Mm,
Do I need to go on the list? It's as long as that one episode of SpongeBob.
Oh, Judge.
He was willing to sacrifice anything and anyone to maintain his power and status, including his own daughters.
Sounded like his treatment of Beatrice was particularly harsh.
It was. He never saw her as a worthy successor to her family's legacy, simply because she was a woman. Even after her accident, he used her disability as an excuse to strip her of any power she had left.
I can only imagine how difficult that must have been for you all.
It's been a constant struggle, but we managed to survive. Bad as it sounds, now that he's gone, we might have a chance to rebuild our family.
What else? Hey, can you tell me about the sword? No.
I don't think I can.
Hey, what? Do you know what this is? No. Alright.
I can't be helped with that.
What about this? Do you know anything
I
about
can't help
any
much
of
with
these?
I
No?
can't- I
Okay.
won't be much help with that.
Hey, what about the security? Oh,
I can't be much help with that.
there we go.
Even after being blinded, Beatrice continued to fight for her freedom. Despite everything that's happened to her, she has always remained determined to live her life on her own terms. I remember when she first came back to the estate after her accident. My father was convinced she'd be completely helpless without her sight. But she refused to let the blindness define her. She learned how to navigate the estate using her other senses and continued to study.
Here we go. This is the important part.
It's ironic, really. My father tried using her disability as a way to control her, but in the end, it was the very thing that allowed her to break free. There we go.
Yeah, she knows how to navigate. She literally does have echolocation, and she uses familiars and stuff, I'm sure. That'll definitely come up.
We might need to present more stuff, maybe.
I think it did say that we need to come back at some point, so we might just...
Yeah, we need to learn more about the will, I think is what it
Yeah.
was.
You enter the storage room, hoping to investigate the air vent that connects to Lord Frega's study. When you come across a person lying on the floor...
A body has been discovered!
Yawn.
Jan, is that you?
Oh man, what's with all the noise? I was having such a good nap, too.
The
Oh,
Snorlax is back.
Whoa, it's you two.
Why are you taking a nap in the storage room?
I needed to take a break from all the chaos going on. Kingsguard won't let us leave until they finish investigating the murder. And this pompous noble shoot me away while I tried sleeping on one of the couches. I didn't expect anyone to find me here.
anyways, the prosecutor told us that you heard the murder from here during the lockdown. Do you think you could tell us what happened?
Oh, sure, why not? My nap's kind of ruined anyways.
So you're working as a servant now?
Not exactly, but I was part of the catering staff. Twins started their own food business after Frega threw us out of the academy.
Right. Sorry about that.
God. Can you just imagine them doing their own food cart?
Oh my god, yes.
Absolutely.
Love that.
No, it's not your fault. Even if Redmond was still headmaster, I'm sure the board would have found some other way to get rid of us.
Wait, are Valencia and Valerie here too?
No, they just contracted some staff to Lord Frega for the Lord's Ball. I think a bunch of other businesses did the same thing.
Wonder how they feel about this. They lent their services to the very man who got them fired in the first place. William must have offered them a lot of gold.
Man, I can't believe I got myself pulled into another murder investigation. Do I have bad luck or what?
The prosecutor told us that you heard the altercation through the air vents. Could you tell us exactly what you heard?
Well, I didn't hear everything. I was taking a nap in this room when it happened.
Why were you napping there?
I didn't have a choice. I accidentally closed the door when the lock was engaged. Well, before I knew it, I was trapped here.
Right, you recall Steelwind mentioning that.
Anyways, I heard the sound of some kind of struggle going on. I couldn't hear everything, but I heard Lord Frege shout, "Who are you? What do you want?" That went on for a few seconds. Then I heard the sound of someone getting stabbed.
Did you hear the voice of the assailant?
They didn't say anything, but I did hear them. Their voice was really raspy. I think they had a sore throat or something.
Ah, so it was Von Sanctus. Or at least me voicing him.
Or they were trying to mask their voice? Why did you enter the storage room anyways?
Oh, the servants were complaining about rats running through the air vents, so they sent me to take care of it. I heard one of them running in the vents upstairs, and I followed it here. Figured it had nowhere else to go, so I opened it up and put a trap down. After I was done, I tried to leave, but the door was locked. Didn't have anything else to do, so I took a nap.
He only heard a few words before the murder struck the final blow. Doesn't give you much to go on, but his testimony could become relevant later. For now, you should probably move somewhere else and gain more information. Oh my god, I forgot how much information you had for us. Jesus Christ.
Best character. Or one of. You might just need to present a shit ton of stuff.
Maybe. Hey, what do you think of the rats? What do you think of there being rats?
Rats. Rats. We're the rats.
What I miss.
Rats.
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 I'm the giant rat that makes all of the rules.
Anyway.
Sure, Beatrice's return must have been surprising for you.
Yes, to be honest, I've been hoping for years she'd finally return. Now that she has, she just got pulled into another one of her family's messes.
Jesus, you have so much to fucking go on. Alright, you didn't have anything for the security. Hey, do you know where the sword is? No? Okay, cool.
You already tried that.
No, I tried it with this sword. I didn't try it with that one yet. You don't know anything about either of these, right? What can you tell me about the manor? Anything?
Go back to the two swords. Just alternate between the swords.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for sure. I agree.
I don't even know what you're agreeing to.
We can just literally talk about people too, can't we? Hey, what do you know about fucking this kook?
How about his monkey?
How about his monkey? I'm surprised we can't ask her about what she was, like, looking for, either.
Ask her about herself.
Yeah, we could try that. Why not? No.
Her sister?
What about her other sister, yeah? What is your relationship like with Miriam?
My younger sister? I actually don't see her that much.
Really? Even though you're sisters?
No, because
love
I'm
this-
blind like my sister.
Egad! I'm so
love-
sorry you're blind.
Our lives as nobles keep us very busy. We rarely have the chance to speak with each other. And ever since Beatrice fled the estate, she'd been throwing herself into her schoolwork.
Oof. Hey, what up with the
Wow.
prince? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
About the other prince.
I didn't think it possible, but I actually
That's
kind of
actually
like
fair.
Miriam a little more now.
Yeah,
I can
Miriam's
kinda
pretty chill.
sympathize with her.
Wait, where is?
I don't see him on here. Yeah,
Why isn't he here?
it's a good question. Hey, can you tell us about the familiar bond? No. I was hoping you could tell us that's how it was being used. What about the anti-magic? No? Hey, what about me? What do you think of me?
Heard of you. You're that defense attorney that everyone's talking about.
Wow, didn't expect you to know who I was.
Yes, many nobles are uneasy due to your recent actions. It's very clear that no one is safe from you. I say
oh.
with the most deadpan stare
Oh.
into your soul.
Well, what about her? Oh, you don't have anything on her. Great. What about my mom? No. Damn, I'm more popular than my mother. Get wrecked.
Same deal.
Yeah.
What about her dad? Does that give anything different?
Oh, yeah.
Nope, it's the same as before.
Yeah, she doesn't really
Eric.
have much else.
Maybe you should try presenting some stuff to Steelwind.
Maybe.
That might be worth doing. That's worth
Also-
trying.
Also present some stuff to Jan. For shits and giggles.
Why not? Cool. I don't think he has anything for me.
Probably not.
Cool.
Oh yeah, did we examine the storeroom at all?
We did not actually. We should probably do that. That's not a bad idea. Back move. Oh yeah, we should actually do that in Beatrice's room as well, because she was looking for something. Let's see if we can help her find it.
Repario Arcanum.
Hello.
There's a trace of transmutation magic under the bed.
Transmutation?
I can't
Mhm.
see it clearly. Let me take a closer look.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you remember that thing you were just talking about, Pokemon? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That thing about the swords? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's Crimson Lotus.
What?
It's my sword!
You never knew her sword had a name.
So this is where it's been.
But why would it be here? This is also the room where they found the Sword of Spell Eating. Are the two thefts related somehow?
But why? The only thing similar about them is that they're both swords.
Make
you
a
sure
fine
about that?
addition to my
Are you
collection.
fucking sure about that, Celeste?
There's definitely more to this, but what? I have theories.
Same.
I have theories.
Same.
Dresser covered in dust. Highly extravagant bed. Table. Nothing else. Alright, well that's important information at the very least. You think you've learned everything you can for now. Perhaps you should move somewhere else. There we go. You explore the manor further and find one of its many sitting rooms.
What the hell is that?
Oh,
And
there
there,
he is!
you happen to spot a very familiar face. He's sipping on a glass of wine, and his expression turns disdainful the moment he enters the moment you enter the room.
Oh, wonderful. As if my day couldn't have gotten any worse.
Bon Sanctus, what are you doing here?
The head of a noble house has just been murdered. I can't very well return to Aranax when my affairs are in such disarray.
Wait, forget what I'm doing here. What are you doing here?
Oh, I just wanted to have a friendly chat with one of my favorite noblemen. I hear that you've been keeping busy since we last met. Must be difficult losing your entire empire to House Freyga.
Tyrion, we do need his help.
Is that so? What makes you think I'd ever help the likes of you?
Because it would take suspicion off of you. And let's face it, with your reputation, you could use all the help you can get.
You. I'll have you know that I'm still a respected member of the nobility.
Respected? Is that why everyone is talking about your hand in Justin Way's death? Because the way I see it, being involved in another scandal would destroy what little remains of your reputation. But it makes no difference to me. And to be perfectly honest, I'd like nothing more than to drag you onto the stand and embarrass you a second time. You can practically hear him grinding his teeth together.
Very well. If it means I won't have to endure your presence any longer, I'll oblige and answer your questions. Honestly, it's just one mess after another with you.
Mess? Wouldn't you have much to gain from William Freyga's death?
On a surface level, you might be right, but it's far more complicated than that. House Freyga controls the banking houses, the main pillar of support for Wyverngarde's economy. William's death could have unimaginable economic consequences, regardless of who inherits his house. I wouldn't be foolish enough to do something like that.
That remains to be seen.
Think what you will. There are others who would benefit from William Freyga's death.
Oh? You mentioned other people. Who specifically?
If I had to venture a guess, I would say Lucio Steelwind benefits the most.
You mean the prosecutor's father? But you just said that Lord Freyga's death could have unimaginable consequences for the economy.
Do you think that brute cares about Wyverngarde's economy? No, all that man cares about is power. Pure and physical power. House Steelwind and House Freyga have been fighting for control of Wyverngarde for generations. And in this long-standing era of peace, the Steelwind's military have become far less valuable to the crown. If it weren't for Lady Steelwind's engagement to the Crown Prince, they might not even be considered a pillar family anymore. The death of William Freyga is probably exactly what Lucio Steelwind has been waiting for. And if our economy were to suffer, it would cause civil unrest. In a scenario like that, the Crown would have to rely on Steelwind's forces to maintain order.
That does make sense. But could Arya's father really be involved with this?
I love to imagine he's just doing all these motions while leaning back on the couch drinking from wine.
By the way, in case you forgot, I'm a prosecutor. I'm an
Can
attorney.
you examine that picture real quick?
I'm an attorney. Yes, don't remind me.
It's a painting of some adventurers in a tavern.
This is absolutely just
D&D
the
adventuring
devs
party.
D&D campaign.
Yeah. This is actually the old man, I think. In the back of there. Oh wait, no.
Maybe?
That's not...
No.
No, that's his monkey at the very least, it looks like.
You know what this is?
Or at
You know
least
what
it
this
looks like
is?
it.
Red Dragon Inn.
Also, Catgirl is very cute. Or,
Absolutely.
I think Catgirl? I don't know.
Cat is very
Cat.
cute.
Cat person.
This just looks like you're playing Red Dragon Inn.
Pretty much. Also, the fucking masked woman over there. Jesus.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Alright, anyways.
This must be Beatrice Freyga the First.
The first.
According to legend, she was one of the descendants of the 7 heroes of Wyverngarde. She joined a band of adventurers that were traveling across the nation.
Hard to imagine the Freygas coming from such humble beginning. What the fuck? Whoa, don't like that. Where did the big man go?
Is it now?
That muscular man in the corner, he just vanished.
What are you on about? There was never a man there.
Sorry, Tyrion, but you're right.
No, I'm sure he was there.
Are you feeling okay?
Perhaps your lack of sleep is making you see things that aren't there.
Eris? Eris, get out of here.
Don't like that. The shelf filled with books. It's very funny.
Fake books? They're completely blank?
Oh no, that means they're filled with ellipses.
Ha.
Oh my gosh.
Mahogany.
Mahogany.
Window with a view. Alright. Magic!
Arcanum.
Nothing. Cool. It's clear that you think Lucio Steelwind would have much to gain from this, but can you think of anyone else?
Well, there is Harold Hellenson.
That can't be his real name.
But what would Mr. Haroldson possibly gain from Frega's death?
From what I've heard, William was planning to defund the Haroldson Hall of History.
Really? Why would he do that?
I'm not sure of the specifics. But supposedly, Lord Haroldson has refused to omit the less flattering parts of Ivengard's history from his exhibits. It's gotten blatant enough that he's drawn the ire of the king himself.
Not gonna lie, Haroldson is pretty high on my suspects list at the moment.
You don't say.
Mm-hmm.
He actually got
I
into
do.
a very heated argument during the Lord's Ball about it. I heard that William declared he would be removing House Haroldson from his estate.
You don't want to suspect Mr. Haroldson, but you do need to examine every possibility. As a curator, he would have the easiest access to the Sword of Spell Eating, and he could have staged a robbery to cover his tracks. At the very least, you should give Mr. Haroldson a chance to explain himself. Yeah, we definitely need to talk to him again because,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. What can you tell me about the defendant in this case?
What? She's your client. Surely you would know her better than I.
Humor me.
Well, sure you're aware she fled the Frege estate 5 years ago. In doing so, she's dealt a blow to House Frege's reputation and directly insulted the Crown Prince by breaking her engagement to him.
Wait, Beatrice was engaged to Asta?
Yes, it was quite the scandal at the time.
Yep.
And Lucio wasted no time in pushing his daughter into taking Beatrice's place.
Oh, is that why those three were so awkward last night?
Honestly, the situation is an absolute mess, and that woman's return will complicate things.
Beatrice's return complicates things. What did he mean by that? Do you find Beatrice's return to be inconvenient for you?
What are you on about now?
Please, don't insult my intelligence, Vaughn.
Don't
Don't
intelligence
insult.
my insult.
I thought I was the one drinking here.
Don't you shut
You
up.
must know, my son was arranged to marry William's daughter LaFay.
LaFay?
Since Beatrice showed no signs of returning, it was apparent that LaFay would inherit House Frege instead of her. I know when my days are numbered, so I took preemptive action. William wanted a male heir, and I needed to preserve my house. So, we both came to an accord. My son and LaFay were arranged to be wed. House Von Sentus would have been absorbed, but at the least my Jaden would stand at the helm of House Frege.
You nobles absolutely awful. I should probably consider myself lucky.
Think what you will. I wouldn't expect a commoner to understand. That's the problem with your generation. You have no sense of duty or obligation. LaFay has already expressed resistance to this marriage, even though she was well aware of the details. Now I worry she'll hide behind her sister and end the engagement altogether.
LaFay never mentioned any of this, and as much as you hate to think it, William's death would get her out of this arranged marriage. You should talk to her about this. Anyway, Von Sanctus gave you a decent list of suspects. You've probably learned everything you can from him for now. It'd be best to move and follow up on these leads.
Yeah, get out of here, you commoner upstart.
Alright. Haroldson, where are you? You return to the gallery and see a legion of knights inspecting the crime scene. However, you don't see Mr. Haroldson anywhere. The Inquisition must be questioning him. Perhaps you should follow another lead and wait for him to return.
By the way, go back real quick. Go back real. Something else is missing.
Oh yeah, on the left there.
The armbands of intellect
is gone.
But the earrings are still there.
Yeah, somebody activated the anti-magic to dispel the abjuration and just break open the display for sure. So that was part of the plan, was activating the lockdown and creating the anti-magic fields. Which honestly kind of makes me feel like it wasn't Haroldson, because Haroldson wouldn't have needed to do that.
Definitely.
Arcanum.
Oh.
These are traces of evocation magic on the shattered glass.
Evocation is the school of magic that creates and unleashes raw energy. It's the most primal of the 7 schools of magic. Someone must have used a powerful spell to blast the display case apart. Okay, so there's 7 schools, not 4. Cool.
Someone cast Fireball.
Yeah.
Probably Shatter, actually.
Why would you suggest such a lame-o spell? Only Fireball. Just Fireball.
Fireball.
Just Fireball.
Just Fireball. Just fire.
Just fireball.
Hey, we have more to say.
Like just Monica, but just fireball.
What was William doing? Let's see if we can present more now that we have this. Hey, can you tell us why this was under the bed? No.
Go to the ballroom and present the sword to Celeste.
Sure.
I'm just curious.
Glad we found... Nope, that's you.
I'm glad we found Crimson Lotus.
Is that the name of your sword?
Yep.
You're glad she's cheered up, but how did her sword end up in Beatrice's bed? Under Beatrice's
I
bed,
just wanted to see what she said.
My sister just came into the room and asked if somebody said Fireball. It's like, no, not that Fireball, not the drink. And then she got sick.
Oh my god.
As Pitbull once said, Fireball.
I think we might just need to go in. LaFay Frege seems to be hiding what her father was doing in his study. You doubt she's doing this out of malice. She might not even think that it's relevant to the case. But William Frege had many enemies, and he retreated into his study to do something that night. And that something could be related to why he was murdered.
Okay, we don't.
I don't know.
We have not completed the profile.
It's
And
fine.
you are doing the thing. Oh my word.
Is there something you're not telling us, LaFay? Because I have a feeling that you know more than you're letting on. It's fine. Don't worry about it. What was your father doing in his study?
Jesus.
I already told you, I don't know.
God damn it, Rex. Thank you.
Oh, there was a private
Yeah.
room. Share something like that with me.
No, he wouldn't share something like that with me.
Okay, I've gone through my last drop. I'm eating some rice to absorb the alcohol now.
Amazing.
I can barely hold the spoon. Help. Send help. I cannot hold this spoon!
Only if you can tell me how many fingers I'm holding up.
4!
Incorrect. Suffer.
God damn it!
Do we just present our thoughts, maybe? Or is it this?
Gee, I don't know. If only we had finished the psychological profile.
Yeah,
I
this-
know, right?
This is
funny.
evidence-based.
I know, but we
Hmm.
also haven't been finished looking for evidence, I'm pretty sure.
I think it is this, actually.
Didn't get all the
No?
evidence.
No, okay. Okay, fine. What about it? Okay, there we go.
Get all the evidence.
It literally was just her own thoughts. Okay, cool. He was making some sort of change to his will, wasn't he?
Did someone else tell him?
Why did you find the need to hide this from us?
I didn't.
Thoughts you saw earlier seem to disagree with that. We've only just met today, so I understand if you don't trust us. But the Inquisition thinks that Beatrice murdered your father, and they claim that she did it for his inheritance.
Alright, Min, what the hell are you
Absolutely
sending me?
absurd.
Regardless, your father's inheritance is a likely motive behind the murder. Many people would have a lot to gain from his death, including you.
Excuse me?
Okay, there we go.
I'm not involved with. How could you ever think I'd be able?
You were the last. No. No.
Why the hell you even let me on stream like this?
Because it's funny. Because we love you no matter what you are. Sober,
But I could
drunk.
box you
No,
192,
not that.
168, 11. There, it's your
Doesn't matter
IP.
what I think. The prosecution clearly won't shy away from prosecuting members of your family. You were the last person to see your father alive, so if your sister was truly innocent, where do you think they'll turn their attention to next?
Niece, do you think I'll respond to such empty threats? Cooperated with the Inquisition. I have nothing to hide.
I didn't mean to imply that you were involved in this, but it's clear that the murderer's motive was to take control of House Frege. This means that their plan heavily relied on who William Frege was leaving his assets to. So I need to know, Miss Frege, how was your father planning to change his will?
I don't know. I was never aware of the details. My father was a secretive man. He didn't share the details of the estate with me.
I mean, that just straight up sounds true. I don't think we found anything that contradicts that
Well, I mean, she was aware that she was supposed to be engaged to,
She knew how this marriage would affect the future of House Frege.
yeah.
yet. Okay. Is that really true, though?
What?
I already know about your arranged marriage to Jaden von Sanctus. And I also know that as part of this deal, Jaden would inherit Lord Frege instead of you.
House Frege.
House Frege, excuse me.
Lord, inherent Lord Frege himself. Oh my word. What a huge deal.
He would inherit Lord Frega himself.
You definitely knew about this, and you heavily resisted the marriage in an attempt to stall it. Which means you had some idea of how your father's will was arranged. So what aren't you telling me, Miss Frega?
I can't trust you.
What?
We're here on behalf of Crown Prince Aster, the Four Pillar families, and the Crown have much to gain from my father's death. How can you assure me this information won't be used against my family?
So that's why she's been so secretive. I think it is appeal here. There's nothing I could possibly say to make you trust me. But please understand, I'm only trying to figure out who murdered your father. And to do that, I need to know everything that he was doing last night. Couple stumbles, but we got through it. It's fine.
Man, we don't even get an achievement for that.
I have no reason to trust you.
Lame.
But somehow, I can tell you're being sincere. Will you really protect Beatrice?
You're about to reassure that you will, but something in the back of your mind stops you. I'll get to the truth of what really happened.
Okay. If that's truly what you're planning to do, I'll tell you what I know. I wasn't trying to be uncooperative, but I didn't know who I could trust.
Considering the circumstances, that's perfectly understandable.
I'm not sure why, but my father was extremely upset that night. According to him, Beatrice had returned and was even more impudent than before.
He must have been angry about something she said during their meeting. Did he tell you what their meeting was about?
He didn't, and honestly, I didn't really care. I was just so happy my sister had returned. But my father clearly felt the opposite. Before he entered his study, he told me he would be pruning the family tree. He was going to disinherit my sister and several other members of our family.
He probably started drafting a new will to reflect that decision.
Which we know retroactively that a big part of
Ruby's case was that she was already disinherited.
Yep.
Yep. So that's what the contradiction was that we're pointing out. Has anyone found the draft of this will?
No. It was the first things I looked for after the investigation began.
The modified will is missing? You'd had it would be enforced. He never even got a chance to submit it for probate before he died. But you can't discount the possibility that the murderer destroyed it. Did anyone else know about this?
No one. Didn't even tell Lady Steelwind when she was questioning me.
Because it would have given Beatrice a motive to commit the murder. Anyways, thank you, Miss Frega.
Mr. Cuthbert?
Yes.
My sister is not a bad person. There's no way she'd do something like this.
Despite what she says, she seems to have some doubts. She's in good hands. Ruby Timora is the one defending her in trial, after all.
I hope so.
Anyways, you think that you've learned everything you can from LaFay. There's only one last person to speak with. Harold Haroldson.
Also, this hurts knowing what's going on, knowing what's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is a complete mess.
As you enter the gallery, you spot Haroldson inspecting the shattered remains of a display case. If you recall correctly, the display case he's looking at once held the Sword of Spell Eating.
Oh, Mr. Cuthbert. I had a feeling I'd be seeing you again. He's working for the Crown Prince. Can he be trusted?
Seems word has spread about your deal with Aster. Hello again, Mr. Haroldson.
Harold.
Right, Harold. I'm sure you already know that I'm investigating the murder of William Frege, and the prosecution suspects that someone used this sword of spell-eating to break into Lord Frege's room. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the theft last night.
I'll tell you what I can, but I'm not sure how much help I'll be.
Well, it's worth a shot. Sigh.
Sorry. I can't believe a museum owns such a powerful magic item. I would have expected the noble houses to take them for themselves.
Well, the nobility of today don't have much use for items such as these. The power of a lord is based on politics rather than magical strength. And a noble wouldn't want to wield the sword of a demon, even if the legends are just stories.
A demon?
Oh,
Sorry.
right. The sword of spell-eating is said to have been forged from a pact between a demon and a mage.
Isn't making a pact with a demon just asking for trouble?
I don't know, Eris, what do you think?
I don't know, what do you think?
I don't know, what do you think?
Eat their souls. A bagel.
They definitely betray you the first chance they get.
Well, legends say that demons often drafted blood contracts for this reason.
Wait, do you mean like legally binding contracts?
The concept is similar, but once you sign a blood contract, both you and the demon are magically compelled to fulfill its terms. It's said that violating its terms will result in instant death for the offender, no matter who it is.
Oh, that's super important information. Holy shit. So I guess there's some protection.
Well, as an attorney, I'm sure you understand that it's possible to exploit and use loopholes in any contract. And according to the legends, demons take great pride in their ability to deceive and corrupt people.
Oh god, I really hope I'm wrong about... I had a thought earlier, and I really hope I'm wrong about that, but we'll see.
What do you think about this, I? How
Uh,
does this information make you feel?
Uncomfortable. According to the prosecution, the theft took place during the Lord's Ball. Shouldn't there have been plenty of witnesses in the gallery at the time?
That's the strangest thing. Supposedly the gallery room was completely empty when it happened.
What? That can't be right.
And honestly, I have no idea how anyone could produce stuff magic to shatter the display case anyways.
were the wards protecting the case that powerful?
They were powerful, but that's not the issue here. It would be the one thing to dispel the wards and remove the glass protecting it. But it's another thing to completely annihilate the abjuration wards and shatter the glass. Doing something like that would require an extremely powerful spell. Far more powerful than what could have been needed. Yeah?
I was trying to recover from my last glass.
Oh no.
Sounds like you need more rice.
No, I'm eating the rice right now. I've already had all the wine I'm ever gonna have. So. I'm eating the water. I'm eating the rice. I swear. The rice. I swear. Fuck.
I don't know. Chad, I think she sounds kind of suspect.
She's definitely getting there.
Fuck. I'm not drinking anymore. I swear.
Well, so you're saying that the force applied was excessive?
Yes, that's not the worst of it. It's clear that the sword of spell eating wasn't the only item that was stolen.
What? Another artifact was stolen that night? Yes, we found it. You mentioned that another item was stolen?
Yes, it's extremely concerning. After the sort of spell eating was reported missing, I checked the other exhibits. And that's when I discovered that the armbands of intellect had been stolen as well. And unlike the sort of spell eating, we still haven't found the armbands.
You look at the glass case where the armbands used to be. They've been removed, but the glass case is completely intact. The thief didn't shatter the glass.
Exactly. Moreover, the armbands were actually replaced with a very well-made replica.
What? Replicas, you say?
Ah. I wonder how you make said replicas.
Transmutation magic, maybe?
You know what's funny? I said that without thinking, and then I realized what I said afterwards.
Back, what happened?
We just found that there was a replica of the armbands of intellect. So it's not just that it was missing, it's that it was swapped with a fake. Which,
And both thefts are different from each other?
Yes. The sword, the case was just straight up shattered.
What
The
is
armbands
going
were
on?
replaced.
Are they even related, or did two different thieves coincidentally steal from Harold that night? You mentioned that someone would have needed a powerful spell to shatter the display case. Wouldn't that narrow down the list of suspects for the thief? Not everyone attending the ball could cast spells that powerful.
Well, according to the Inquisition, Beatrice's Frega's magic was powerful enough to have done this.
Discounting the fact that she's completely blind.
Yes, I'm well aware of that, and it doesn't quite sit right with me either.
Was there anyone else at the Lord's Ball capable of matching Beatrice's power?
Only the heads of the four pillars could have invoked magic this powerful. But apparently Beatrice is an exception to that.
Is Beatrice really that powerful? Or is she being scapegoated by one of the house leaders?
But the cases can be opened normally, can't they? Otherwise, how would you transport the artifacts from place to place?
Ah, yes. The magical locks in the case can be disabled.
You detect some fear. Is he hiding something? How are they normally disabled?
They can be turned on and off using a spoken password.
And how many people know this password?
Only myself. I personally oversee the transport of these items when they're moved.
So Harold could have stolen the sword that night? Could he have staged the robbery to cover his tracks? I don't know about that. Maybe, but... Harold, a witness told us that you got into an argument with William Frege on the night of the murder. Was William Frege planning on defunding the Heraldson Hall of History?
Yes, he was. He made that very clear. But that doesn't mean I had anything to do with this murder.
We're not saying that you did, but I need to explore every possibility. So I need to ask, did your argument that night turn hostile?
I'll admit that our discussion turned heated, but it never escalated to threats or violence. With how insulting he was, it should have. William was being unreasonable, and I was frustrated. That's all there was to it. Deserved what happened to him.
Yeah, shows more resentment than he's letting on. Did you have any conflicts with him prior to that night?
We have had disagreements in the past. He was receiving pressure from the royal family about what I was displaying in my museum. The king believed that some of my exhibits were too controversial for the public eye.
What do you mean?
I'm sure that you've noticed the rising tensions between the common folk and the nobility. I've never been one to shy away from the bloodier parts of Wyverngod's history. The citizens must know about those parts of history, otherwise we're liable to repeat them. However, the king believed that my historical exhibits did nothing but dig up old wounds. Nothing but simpletons, the lot of them.
Based Harold. The nobility thinks they can smooth public relations by censoring history, as if they couldn't get any worse. Anyway, it's clear that Harold is passionate about his work. Did that passion drive him far enough to commit murder, though? Thank you for your time, Harold.
Harold.
I think we'll be on our way now.
Thank you, Harold. Harold.
Derek!
We have a lot of info, but none of it really leads anywhere.
So many people had a motive to murder William Frege, but who actually did it? Perhaps you should take some time to review everything that you've learned. Well, motives aside, let's go over the events that happened that night. It all started when the Sword of Spell Eating was stolen. We don't have a specific suspect, but we do know something about them. The thief is a powerful mage. The thief was a powerful mage. That's the only way they could have shattered the magically reinforced glass.
But what about Harold? He could have just unlocked it using his password.
He could have stolen the sword and staged a robbery, but he couldn't have shattered the glass. Only a powerful mage could have done that, and I doubt Harold would lie about that when we could easily confirm it with Steelwind.
Right, but what happened next?
They brazenly stole the Sword of Spell Eating. This caused Harold to report the theft to the Kingsguard.
Flashbacks.
And then there's LeFay's statement. LeFay's account gives us a clear fact about when William died. William died after the lockdown activated, I believe. Yeah, there we go.
Now he died after the body was found.
William... The victim died after the victim was found!
It's that whole Gmod logic. You're not dead until you're declared dead.
William Frege was murdered after the lockdown was activated.
This means that whoever killed him bypassed the lockdown and broke into the magically locked room. They had to have used the sword, right?
It's likely, but not necessarily true. The anti-magic field would have also had the same effect. The murderer could have stolen the Sword of Spell Eating to throw off the investigation.
But anti-magic field is a high-level spell. Not many mages would be able to cast it.
And I doubt any of the nobles here would let us see their spell compendiums. But because of how powerful anti-magic field is, we can still conclude that the murderer is a powerful mage. That actually narrows down our list of suspects.
That's still not concrete evidence, though. And we haven't even spoken to all the suspects yet.
You never got a chance to speak with Lucio Steelwind. But given his status, you wonder if that would even be possible. Either way, it's a good start. It's not as if we're defending this case. The trial is getting close anyways. You don't doubt Miss Timora's abilities, but you should share what you've learned with her before the trial begins. It's a little strange that you haven't seen her since the investigation began. But she might be meeting with Beatrice at the dungeon.
Can you look at the wait, before you go, can you look at the inventory real quick?
Which one?
The sword.
Which one?
This one. When wielded by a creature, that creature and anything connected to them, physically or magically, are immune to all harmful magical effects. Legends say it was forged through a blood contract between a mage and a demon. I'm wondering if that's even treated as anti-magic, as in, like, through the typical magical methods, or if it's a separate effect, like the Eye of Horus or the or Eris's mind-altering abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that case, I'm not even sure if using anti-magic to counter anti-magic would work in that case.
I have no idea. You arrive at the dungeon and search for Miss Tamora. She wasn't at the crime scene, so she must be here to discuss the case with Beatrice. Or at least that's what you thought, but you don't see her anywhere.
Who? Mr. Cuthbert.
Oh! Hi. You were so caught up in your thoughts you didn't notice that you were walking right in front of Beatrice's cell. Oh, why are you here? Why are you here?
Are you here?
Why? Celeste lets out a shriek as Eris approaches you two from behind. For a split second, you see her hand dart to her sword. It appears that she still hasn't gotten over her instinctual fear of Eris.
He's right to not do so.
Eris, why are you here?
Beatrice actually an acquaintance of my father.
Fuck.
He's sent to be here to help her through this ordeal.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Beatrice, you didn't get presented with a random piece of paper that you couldn't read and sign it, did you? Hey, Beatrice, you didn't just randomly sign a contract that you couldn't see, did you? That brings up many more questions, but you don't really have time to pull on that thread.
I'm sorry, but my eyes were taken.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
You have less than an hour before the trial begins. You need to find Miss Tamora. Have either of you seen Miss Tamora? I have some things I need to share with her.
Beatrice, have you seen Miss Tamora?
But she left her keys and documents from her office.
Do you have any idea when she'll come back?
She didn't say. But if your discussion has anything to do with the case, I could pass a message on to her.
You feel a little hesitant for some reason, but it is her life on the line. If anyone should know about what you found during the investigation, it's her. Okay, let me tell you what I know. You spend some time
totally
going
good
through your
idea.
findings with Beatrice. From your list of suspects, the possible motives behind the murder, you notice that with each revelation she becomes more uneasy. The idea of someone framing her must be stressing her out.
Hey. You've certainly been very thorough.
Yes, but I still have no concrete evidence that points to anyone.
We underestimated him. If he reveals these findings to Prince Asta, he might suspect something.
What?
Sorry. I was just deep in thought.
And you were able to catch one of those thoughts. Beatrice, I'm sure you're aware that Prince Astor has your best interests at heart.
I know. Even though we haven't spoken for the past 5 years, I still consider him a dear friend.
Then I suppose you have no issue with me sharing these findings with him.
Of course not. This is bad. Even he wouldn't support us if we knew that I was involved.
Wait, what was that? Her thoughts just said she was involved. Did she actually murder her father?
Is something wrong, Mr. Cuthbert? You look a little pale.
Beatrice was actually behind this, but how? She's completely blind. She couldn't have navigated through the manor and avoided the guards. No, you must be taking her thoughts out of context. That's it.
Mr. Cuthbert, perhaps you should get some rest. You look dreadfully tired.
You think very carefully about what you say next. There's one way to get a certain answer through the eye, but if you're wrong... Beatrice, you weren't actually involved in this, were you?
Tyrion!
You see her gaze narrow in response to your question. Once again, she clasps her hands together. She's clearly trying to stay calm.
You suspect me now, Mr. Cuthbert.
You didn't answer my question, Beatrice.
As if I'd even need to justify it with a response. But no, Mr. Cuthbert, I was not responsible for my father's murder. I was an accomplice.
An accomplice? Did she work together with someone? Hi,
What?
Ruby! Miss Tamora! Your mentor seems to have sensed the mood in the air. She raises an eyebrow at you. Miss Tamora, can I speak with you alone for a second?
Okay. What's wrong? Is everything okay?
Miss Tamora, Beatrice, she actually did murder William Frege. Miss Tamora's gaze narrows. Her eyes dart around the room to make sure the guards didn't overhear you.
What are you talking about? How could you possibly know that?
I used the Eye of Horus on her. She conspired with someone else to orchestrate William Frege's death.
Have you told anyone else about this?
No, it's not like they'd believe me anyways. You're the only other person who knows about my abilities.
Hey, just stay quiet about this for the time being. Anyways, I need to get ready. The trial starts in half an hour.
What? You're not seriously going to defend her, are you?
Of course I am. I'm her attorney.
But she's guilty. I saw it!
Look, at this point, I don't know what you saw. But do you think I can just abandon a client minutes before a trial?
No, but...
It's not for either of us to decide who's guilty and who's not. Everyone has a right to an attorney. Our court system needs a defense attorney and a prosecutor to keep things fair.
Oh, Ruby, those words are gonna bite you in the fucking ass in about 30 minutes.
More like an hour, but yes.
More importantly, you had no right to use the Eye of Horus on my client without my permission.
What? But...
I don't have time to argue about this. We will be talking about this later.
Before you have a
Yes, in
chance
30 minutes.
Before you have a chance to respond, Miss Tamora walks away. Celeste sees both of you and awkwardly approaches you.
Hey, Tyrion, is everything okay?
Celeste, I think Beatrice was actually behind
What?
You don't blame her for not believing you. It's not as if you can tell her about the Eye of Horus. Although, why haven't you told her?
Alright, I believe you.
What?
You wouldn't say something like that if you weren't sure, right? But what if what you're saying is true? What do we do now?
You think long and hard for a moment. I don't think we need to do anything.
What?
Steelwind is handling the prosecution, and she's definitely no pushover. If Beatrice is truly guilty, I'll just have to trust her to get the job done. Either way, I don't think we're in any position to get involved.
Alright, if you say so.
It's really none of your
As Ruby
business.
proceeds to Von Karma Steelwind.
You have no stake in this. You're not obliged to do anything. You've done everything you can. It's in their hands now. It's none of your business. This isn't your fight. William Frege was a tyrant and a bigot anyways. He's a noble who did nothing but steal wealth from the common folk. The world is better off without him. It's not as if you didn't try. All you have to do is wait for the trial to run its course. Objection! Your Honor, I'm afraid you can't pass a verdict just yet.
Mr. Cuthbert!
Cuthbert? What the hell are you doing?
I don't know. But what I do know is there's a massive contradiction in William Frega's testimony. Miriam Frega's testimony. Oh, who are you kidding? As if you were ever the type of person to stand by and do nothing. Love that.
Save your progress.
As if you were ever the person to stand by. Your Honor, the defense... the prosecution. I would like the right to cross-examine this witness.
Bailiff, please arrest Mr. Cuthbert. I'm holding him in contempt of court.
Oh, wait! You really didn't think this through, did you? Instead of following his orders, the bailiff walks over to the judge's podium and whispers something into his ear.
What? I see. Very well then.
Bailiff, arrest him! What are they saying? Yep.
It appears that Miss Steelwind has somehow predicted that this would happen. In accordance with her wishes, Mr. Cuthbert may act as the prosecutor in her stead.
Fucking
Steelwind
Steelwind is...
goat.
Yeah, Steelwind's so fucking good. She just knew. She just knew if she collapsed and was unable that we would not stand by.
I think there's not... I don't even think there's a competition anymore. Steelwind, best Ace Attorney prosecutor. Hands down.
This game is like blowing Ace Attorney out of the water.
Yeah.
This is the quintessential Ace Attorney game. It's not even close.
It's not even an Ace Attorney game.
Yep.
It's an Attorney of the Arcane game.
Alright.
What the hell? You can't be serious.
I'm honestly just as surprised as you are, Miss Tamora. But Miss Steelwind has apparently designated him as her stand-in. It's unorthodox, but it's also legal.
You recall something strange Steelwind asked you earlier today? Sire, you...
Steelwind?
That would be Elena.
Oh,
what would
right.
you do if one of your clients was guilty?
I suppose I'd withdraw and tell them to find another lawyer.
And if no one would represent them?
I don't know. It'd definitely be a hard choice for me. But I know I would never be able to represent them if I knew the truth. I just can't stand by and let a murderer escape justice.
I see.
Steelwind, did she somehow know this would happen?
Well, this isn't how I expected the trial to go.
Shortly after you barged onto the prosecutor's table, Celeste awkwardly followed behind you.
She's actually on the other side, holy crap.
Yeah, no, everything in this is going to be flipped. It's very weird.
I love...
Cursed. I hate it.
I just want to bring up, I love the idea that you just, like, leapt over the banister into the prosecutor's stand.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, after the bailiff didn't arrest you, she just, like, walks slowly down the stairs.
Yeah.
In her hand. Just like, oh lord, what are we into this time?
I guess we're really doing this.
What's wrong?
This feels weird. We're on the other side of the courtroom.
I mean, this is where the prosecutor is supposed to stand.
No, this feels way too jarring.
Ruby, can we switch places?
What?
Please ignore her.
No, this is way too weird. Tyrion, get her to switch with us.
Celeste.
Motherlove, I genuinely do not care. Cuthbert can have this side if he wants it so badly.
I do not. I do not care.
You might not, but Celeste does.
Oh my god,
Well,
it's so
with
good.
that out of the way, let's resume proceedings. Assuming that we're all in our preferred spots.
We are, Your Honor.
I love the fact that this was immediately brought up after we said it.
Yeah.
As much as you hate to admit it, you are more comfortable here. Not that you want to encourage her.
With all these interruptions, I think it best to review the proceedings up until now. The prosecution proposed that Beatrice Frega's motive for the murder was to claim the victim's inheritance. However, the defense brought forth a witness who testified that Beatrice was disinherited by her father 5 years ago. Am I correct, Miss Tamora?
You are, Your Honor.
Very well. Considering the circumstances, I think it's best to have Lady Frega repeat her testimony. Maiden, please escort Lady Frega to the stand once more.
Miss Frega, could you please give your testimony to the court once more?
No, of course. One day, we all woke up and discovered that Beatrice had fled from our home. She left a note for us, and in it, she renounced her name and denounced my father. My father later called me and my sister into his study. He told us that he'd completely disowned Beatrice and removed any claim she had to the Freya estate. It was probably a threat to us in case we ever chose to go down the same path she did. He wanted to make an example out of her. This all happened 5 years ago.
So your father disinherited Beatrice shortly after her departure.
Yes, he did.
Such Beatrice would have no motive to murder her father. Any inheritance she could have received would be long gone by the night of the murder.
Is that really true, though?
What was that text glitch?
I didn't catch it.
I'm looking at the clip.
It's this one. This one?
Yes.
Is it this one?
Look at the bottom line of dialogue in it.
Yeah, okay. Objection! No.
Shit. You might need to press.
Sure. That seems like a drastic reaction to her simply leaving her home.
My father and sister already had many disagreements before this. He'd made it clear that he wouldn't tolerate her many acts of insubordination. I imagine that this was the last straw for him.
Well, it sounds in character for him. Would William Frege really do something so extreme? Regardless of his personal feelings, House Frege holds a lot of financial and political power. Would he really change his inheritance so haphazardly? This happened shortly after Beatrice fled. You must have been less than 13 years old at the time. I can't imagine how that must have been. But can we really trust your testimony if you were only a child at the time?
I remember vividly my father's words, the look on Lafayette's face when she realized Beatrice was gone. I even remember the way the sun was shining through the window that morning. It was all my fault. I remember that moment with clarity. My father made sure of that.
Sounds like a painful memory for her. And she seems to falsely blame herself for what happened. It'd be best not to press her more than necessary. You felt it while you were watching from the gallery. Part of her testimony doesn't match with what you learned from the investigation. Must have been something that Lafay told you. Yeah, it's definitely the Lafay testimony. Just going over everything. Oh, here we go. No, it's this one. Yep, nope, it's this one. That's why. That's why it's a different piece of evidence. Yeah, okay. It's this one, not the other one. There we go. Okay. I that's why I was asking if it was LaFay's or not. I wasn't sure. It's all good. It's all good. I got it. Miss Frega, it's clear that you're regretful of how your elder sister was treated. That guilt must have eaten at you for all these years.
Cuthbert, I know you don't have a good history with the witness. But you shouldn't rub salt in her wounds.
I was merely pointing out the witness's personal connection to the defendant, Miss Tamora. She clearly regrets not standing up for her sister all those years ago. So perhaps she's trying to make up for that by lying to protect her.
Excuse me? I did nothing of the sort!
Miss Frega, you testify that your father disinherited Beatrice 5 years ago. However, I have testimony from another witness who spoke with the victim on the night of the murder. After Beatrice's meeting with William Frega, he openly declared that he would be removing her from his will. He even entered his study to draft a new will to reflect that decision. So that raises the following question. Why would the victim need to declare that he was disinheriting the defendant? It doesn't make sense if he already disinherited her 5 years ago.
Is that so? Well, who did you hear this from? It's clear they had no understanding on my father's estate.
They had no understanding? Miriam, this testimony came directly from your sister, LaFay Frega.
What?
And she should also have been present during this alleged meeting 5 years ago.
Well, she must be mistaken then.
Objection! Your Honor, how can we trust second-hand testimony from a witness who isn't here? Wouldn't it make more sense to have LaFay give her testimony directly?
I must agree with you, Miss Tamora. LaFay Frega should be allowed to clear up this misunderstanding.
She looks way too confident. What is she planning? You're not sure if it was intentional, but Miriam's testimony was false. Could she be lying to protect Beatrice? And if so, is Miss Tamora expecting LaFay to do the same?
Bailiff, please escort LaFay Frega to the stand.
Miss Frega, when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that your father decided to disinherit Beatrice. And he decided this after their meeting on the night of the murder. Is that correct?
Yes, I did say that. You see, LaFay, Cuthbert doubts the testimony given by your younger sister.
Yeah, we should probably have Elena take over for now.
Yes, Elena, please take her.
Bailiff, take her away.
He seems to think that she's committed.
No, not Ruby. LaFay.
Yeah.
Oh, LaFay?
Yeah.
He seems to think that she's committed perjury.
Good luck frying Ruby from Pokemon's hands.
What?
Yes.
Wouldn't go so far as to say.
Witness, lying under oath, is a serious crime. It would have harsh consequences, even for someone of your sister's status.
No. She couldn't have...
Wonderful. Are you saying that you can corroborate your sister's testimony?
Miss Tamora, you can't just intimidate the witness.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Cuthbert. I'm just telling the witness what may or may not happen depending on what she does next. The choice is ultimately hers. So, LaFay, assuming Miriam wasn't lying under oath, could you please testify to the court to confirm what your sister said?
Yes, of course. You see, Miriam was quite young when her father called us into his study 5 years ago. She didn't understand what he was really doing. My father would often lie to us. It was one of the many ways that he kept us in line. The encounter that Miriam described was just another one of his lies. Despite their disagreements, my father would never disinherit Beatrice without a good reason. He always held on to the possibility that she could become desperate enough to return home. Truth is that none of us knew what my father was planning for House Freya's future.
Sage Cuthbert, the truth is much more complicated. No one could really have known that William Frege was planning for his estate.
LaFay does. LaFay is definitely trying to cover for Miriam, and Miss Tamora is playing her like a damn fiddle. Luckily for you, she's not the only person that gave her statement to you.
Lord Von Sanctus.
Miss Frege, did you really have no idea about House Frege's future?
No, I didn't. My father made sure of that. As I told you, he kept many secrets and wasn't above trying to manipulate us.
But with Beatrice gone, you would have been the one to inherit your father's estate. Would you really be ignorant of your father's plans for House Frege? Unfortunately for you, I don't think you'd be that careless. In fact, I have it on good authority that you knew exactly how William's inheritance would have been divided before that night.
What?
LaFay, according to Lloyd Von Sanctus, you were arranged into a diplomatic marriage with his son. You expressed resistance to this arrangement. Am I correct?
I have no reason to comment on that matter.
Cuthbert, the witness's personal matters are hardly any of our business.
Yes, I must ask that you keep this discussion relevant to the case.
Your Honor, LaFay's resistance to this marriage is exactly how I know that her testimony is false. She was extremely averse to this marriage, and because of that, she made sure to know every detail about how it would affect her and her house. And that includes how House Frege would be inherited by her future husband. So that raises the question, LaFay. If you already knew about the intricate details of this marriage, why would your father tell you that he was disinheriting your sister? That statement would only make sense if Beatrice was already in his will beforehand. That would render Miriam's testimony false and constitute a motive for the defendant.
Objection.
You present a decent argument, Cuthbert, but your claims rely on one assumption.
And what assumption would that be, Miss Tamora? Even if he was lying, the victim declared that he was revoking Beatrice's inheritance. She must have already been named in the will previously. Otherwise, there would have been no need for him to say that. It wouldn't make sense otherwise.
And that's where your assumption is. You're assuming William Frege was acting logically.
What are you talking about?
It's clear William Frege was extremely controlling of his daughters. By your own admission, LaFay Frege was resistant to the marriage arranged by her father. In addition to that, Miriam found herself wrapped in controversy regarding the Nightgrave trial a few months ago. I'm sure you remember that one. And finally, to make matters worse, Beatrice Frege, the prodigal child, finally returned and made a public appearance during the Lord's Ball.
Yeah.
What are you trying to insinuate?
In his eyes, William Frege's ability to keep his daughters in line was clearly weakening. He must have gotten so desperate and made a grand declaration in a feeble attempt to scare you, LaFay. Even if that declaration was clearly inconsistent.
You wouldn't.
Your ability to remember must be muddled by the shock of your father's death. This statement could only have possibly been true. If, by some chance it were, that would make you guilty of perjury. Perhaps it was Miriam that was lying in her testimony? If your father's statement were true, the court might be inclined to investigate her for lying on the stand.
Miss Tamora, are you threatening her?
As I said before, I am merely stating the facts. The witness is free to act as she sees fit. I'm just asking her to consider the potential consequences of what she says next.
What do I do?
Damn it, she's pressuring LaFay to side with her. She's clearly conflicted, though. Is there anything you can do? You feel a sense of clarity when you look at her. Is the Eye of Horus reacting to her stress? You wonder.
I'm sorry. I need time to think. Please don't stare at me like that, Mr. Cuthbert.
Wait a minute. No, wait.
It's too late. You did it. You activated the empowered eye. There has to be something in her mind that you can use. The state of her father's inheritance is the backbone of your case. If there's anything in her mind that can definitively prove... Is there anything in her mind that can definitively prove what was in his will?
But I hate to admit it, this draws a perfect opportunity to back out of the arranged marriage. Von Sanctus is holdings a weakling by the day. I doubt he'll be able to put up much resistance. And once Beatrice inherits the estate, we might be able to rebuild our family.
She's assuming that Beatrice will inherit House Frege. That confidence must mean that she's certain of what was in Miriam's will. How do you prove that?
Nope. Same deal.
The same deal. Okay, cool. What about your own testimony? There you go.
I need to make sure that I tell the truth without harming Miriam or Beatrice. Beatrice couldn't have possibly done this. And I'm sure Miriam also has her reasons. They couldn't rely on me back then, but they can now.
You didn't get any leads from that. You should try something else.
Sword!
The sword.
How did both of the swords find their way into Beatrice's room? The tracker of...
Who the Tracker is the dog, isn't it? It's
the wolf.
Yeah, it's the wolf.
No. Ms. McCoy's sword is one thing. But he couldn't have possibly broken into the Heraldston Gallery.
Unless he had the armbands of intellect.
Although, he was extremely fixated on it.
What? Does she know how Celeste's sword was taken? Much as you want to follow that lead, it will all be for nothing if you can't turn the trial in your favor. You should try something else.
Beatrice. After all these years, you finally returned. I can't believe that this is how things have ended up. If only I was as strong as you, I would be able to endure this.
Nope. Okay. I'm an attorney!
What? Why am I thinking about this?
Cool. Nothing on that.
Anti-magic?
Which one is that? This one?
No, I'm going to spells is what I'm meaning.
Oh. No.
Never mind.
But
Then
what
yeah,
about the
lockdown.
familiar? No.
Fuck.
What about Miriam?
Why would Miriam say those things? Am I misremembering what happened? No, I would have remembered something like that. She must be trying to protect Beatrice.
So Miriam's testimony was a conscious lie. Beatrice's inheritance wasn't revoked until the night of the murder. Nah, she doesn't know anything about that. What else do we have? What else?
Her father?
Mother, I know we had our differences, but I did love you, and I never wanted you to die.
Seems genuinely surprised and regretful about his death. From your encounter earlier, you know Beatrice had an accomplice, but you doubt it was LeFay. Well, that worked. Hey, what do you know about Harold? No. Okay, cool.
Who?
No one knows anything about Harold. Harold is an enigma.
Ruby Tamora. I've heard stories about her. I never expected Beatrice to hire someone like her. I wonder if she'll be at the will reading tomorrow.
A will reading? She must be talking about William Frega's will.
I believe you've had enough time for deliberation, Mr. Cuthbert. Are you able to prove the defendant's motive or not?
I'm not, Your Honor. At least not yet. It's clear we won't get anywhere until we can confirm the state of William Frega's will. And we can easily confirm that tomorrow morning, when William Frega's will is read to his family.
How did you...
I see. Once his will is read, it will become public record. I suppose I have no choice but to suspend this trial until such time that William Frega's will is read.
No. This is ludicrous. The case against my client is completely outrageous. We've spent the entire court proceedings arguing if our motive even exists. Prosecution has very little evidence that physically implicates my client.
Miss Tamora, you clearly don't believe the defendant had anything to do with the murder.
Of course I don't. She's completely innocent.
Well, if your client didn't murder the victim, who did?
You sneaky little...
Your Honor, with no other suspects, are you in a position to pass a verdict?
No, I am not.
Ah.
Mr. Cuthbert is correct. The court does not have enough information to pass a verdict. Until the Inquisition has time to investigate these new developments, I will be suspending today's trial. We will resume the trial tomorrow afternoon. Court is adjourned.
Did we just Phoenix Wright Ruby Tamora?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mitty, you are there?
Yeah, I was muted for a bit.
Well, that happened.
Sorry, I kind of acted without thinking.
But out of everything that happened today, I can't believe that Steelwind somehow knew you would do that.
Right, that is strange. Did she seriously predict what I'd do off of that one conversation? Considering how things turned out, you suppose she was right on the mark. But that was still a big leap of faith. Anyways, we have some time to ourselves. I'd very much like to catch up on some sleep.
Yeah, today's been exhausting for a lot of reasons.
And your work has only started. You have no idea who Beatrice's accomplice was. The will reading was just an opportunity to stall for time. So the question remains, who really murdered William Frega?
You better not come home tonight.
What the hell was that? Why is your son filling in for Arya?
Listen, I have the situation under control.
Yeah, that's true. I'd hate to see a situation you consider out of control.
Iris?
My father is not pleased with today's developments. He promised that the verdict would be passed before William Frega's will became public record. This has thrown quite the wrench in our plans.
We understand. Cuthbert is just confused, but he's not a threat to us.
We'd better hope you're right, Tamora. Or else your poor ward might suffer the same fate as Prosecutor Steelwind.
What?
Las Frega is too important of a prize for us to let go. Bring us results, Tamora. Or else we'll continue to take more drastic measures.
Good thing we have a bodyguard, right?
Yeah. We have a bodyguard, and we have ancient mystical powers that isn't tracked by the magic system.
For the first time since the Lord's Ball, you're finally able to get some sleep. You woke this morning refreshed, but also a little anxious about the results of the will reading. You arrive back at Frege Manor and see that Beatrice, Lefay, Miriam, and Von Sanctus have all gathered, along with Miss Tamora, who is accompanying Beatrice as her attorney. You're not really sure what to say to her after everything you've done. The air still feels too awkward to approach her and talk about it.
Thank you all for coming here today.
And you should probably, yeah.
As William Frega's close associate, I must express my deepest condolences for your loss. I think I speak for all of Wyvengard when I say...
Fuck that man.
Enough. Just get on with it.
Very well, then. To get straight to the point, Lord Frega's will was magically sealed when it was given to me. He asked me, his executor, not to submit it to the corpse for probate until after his death. Although I imagine none of us expected such a time to come so suddenly. Anyways, Lord Frega's assets included sole ownership of several banking houses throughout Wyvengard, 10 million gold in various investments.
100 million?
10 million gold. You can't even begin to imagine what anyone could do with even a fraction of that wealth.
And lastly, sole control and ownership of the Frega noble house.
The executor takes a large envelope and uses a runestone to dispel the magical seals on it.
I, William Frega, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this to be my last will and testament. I hereby give, devise, and bequeath all of my assets and property, both real and personal, to Jaden von Sanctus. Provided that he enters into a legal and binding engagement with my daughter, Lefay Frega, within 6 months of the date of my death.
That's...
William must have added that an addendum to prevent Von Sanctus from trying to steal his empire. But a legal and binding engagement is predicated on Lefay accepting it. She clearly doesn't want to go through with it, so if she simply waits 6 months, Von Sanctus wouldn't have any claim to the estate.
In the event that Jaden von Sanctus does not enter such an engagement within the specified time frame, my assets and property shall be distributed as such. All of the House Frega will be divided equally among my children, as per the laws of our kingdom.
You're right. William Frega never disinherited Beatrice. This would make Miriam's testimony false. And since Beatrice would receive a portion of William's inheritance, she had a motive to commit the murder. You glance at Miriam. It's hard to read her expression, but something appears to be on her mind. Without a word, she walks out of the room, ignoring both Beatrice and Lefay. Lefay, on the other hand, seems to be in good spirits.
Isn't this great, Beatrice? You can lead House Frega now. Just as it should have been.
Actually, about that, in light of recent events, I believe I should clarify one thing. As per the Slayer rule, if Beatrice Frega is found guilty in the current court case, her inheritance will be revoked and divided between you and your sister.
I see.
Aww.
This is what I get for feeling happy.
Let's be all connect. Surely William added a note of Lefay's obligation to marry my son.
I'm not sure what you're trying to imply. Lefay Frega is an adult with legal autonomy. She is free to make whatever decision she wishes about who she legally marries. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Based executor.
Yeah!
Wait, we're not finished yet. Come back here.
Oh, we're finished!
I had enough to catch up with you, Lefay. But I was only allowed on myself to attend the reading.
You notice Inquisition Knight outside the door. He seems to be watching Beatrice intently.
But don't worry. I am sure once this misunderstanding is resolved, we can talk all we want about our family's future. Of course.
A group of knights leads Beatrice out of the manor, and LeFay follows after them, leaving you alone with Celeste and Miss Tamora. About what I did.
Look, I'm not angry, Cuthbert.
Oh?
I'm furious. In fact, I'm going to murder you right now. No, I'm kidding. It was an extremely unforeseen situation, and Steelwind clearly put you on the spot. You felt pressured to do something, and you made a rash decision. But I'm sure the court will understand if you withdraw.
Wait, what?
Cuthbert, you're not a prosecutor. You know that, right? Didn't you become an attorney to defend persecuted mages?
But Beatrice is guilty. I saw it.
I'm not going to argue about this again. You are going to withdraw. This is not up for discussion.
You've always regarded and respected Miss Tamora, and you suppose it's always made you deeply scared of disappointing her. Perhaps she's right. She knows more about what's going on than you, and she's still your mentor.
Also, you mentioned that you saw it directly next to Celeste. I'm wondering when we're going to spill the beans on the eye to Celeste.
You want to believe that. You really do. But deep down, you know this is wrong. Miss Tamora may believe in Beatrice's innocence, but you can't just abandon this case and let her escape justice. Your hands are trembling. Why are you so scared right now? You know what you have to say, but the words won't leave your mouth. From behind you, you feel Celeste hold your trembling hand. It's warm and comforting. It's that same sensation you felt back then. Somehow you can feel it through her hand. It's as if she's silently telling you that you know what you have to do. Your anxiety fades and you take a deep breath. I'm not going to do that, Miss Tamora.
What?
You said it yourself. Our court system needs a defense attorney and a prosecutor of equal power to keep things fair.
It's not what
I'm not going to withdraw. If you believe in Beatrice's innocence, and if you truly believe you're on the right side, then prove it by beating me.
Fine. Do what you want. But you're only gonna make things harder for everyone.
Tyrion!
As soon as Miss Tamora steps out of the room, your body drops to the floor. Whatever bravery you felt before got replaced with an extreme amount of fatigue. Oh, scaled lord, that's the first time I've ever spoken to her like that.
But you still did it. You stood your ground. Figuratively, I mean. Right now, you're kind of just sitting on the floor.
Yeah, I need to take a moment. Can we go back to the ballroom? You return to the ballroom and take a moment to recover. You spot Commander White at the edge of the room, but don't pay him much notice. It takes you a while before you feel ready to stand.
You okay?
No. Regardless,
Understandable. Have a nice day.
the will reading bought us a few more hours to investigate the murder. We should take advantage of the new information we just learned.
So, where should we start first?
Right! You're the prosecutor now. So that would technically mean that would technically make you his boss for the time being.
This is weird, right?
Yep.
Awkwardness aside, I've never really led a task force before. What would Steelwind normally do in this situation?
Well, she'd normally have us investigate areas of interest.
Right, the context of the investigation tends to change after each round of court proceedings. Well, we're lacking a lot of physical evidence. Could you and the Inquisition search the gallery in Beatrice's room? Perhaps you can find evidence of how the Sword of Spell Eating was stolen.
Whatever you say, boss.
That covers the Inquisition, but what are we going to do?
It's clear that Lord Frega's inheritance plays a large role in this case. Even if it's not valid, we should take a look at the modified will that he was drafting. It might give us some insight as to what he was really planning to do with his inheritance.
I love that interaction with Orem, and also I love the thought of oh god, how can we make Orem look even less competent by putting Tyrion in charge of him?
Oh no!
This is weird. He normally makes me look incompetent, but if he's the one in charge now, is he just gonna make me look competent?
In comparison.
Also, sigh.
Oh, what is it?
As you enter William Frega's study, you spot a figure rummaging through the drawers in his desk.
Why isn't it here? Where else would he put it? Miriam? What?
As soon as she notices you, Miriam quickly closes the drawers and walks towards you. But you already saw what she was doing. She was definitely looking for something. This is a crime scene. What are you doing here, Miriam?
As if that's any of your business.
Considering that I'm the prosecutor, it is very much my business. You give a side glance to the knight stationed outside the room. They should have stopped her from entering, but perhaps she used her status to intimidate them into letting her through. However, this could be a blessing in disguise. She was clearly looking for something in this room, and you have a feeling you know what it was.
Let's examine the room.
You appear to be looking for something, Miriam. What could be so important that you disturb an active crime scene?
It's none of your concern. I'm merely trying to find something that belongs to me.
Really? Because I have a feeling we might be looking for the same thing. You're looking for the will that your father was drafting, aren't you?
That's... Were you trying to destroy it before we could get to it? No, of course not. I just needed to see it for myself. Did you really do this?
Oh, is she also suspicious of Beatrice? Why are you so determined to see the drafted will, Miss Frega?
I just wanted to see what my father's final wishes were. But your father already had a will filed previously. Wouldn't that be enough?
You also suspect something, don't you?
Of course not! Beatrice would never do something like this.
Miss Frega, I never even mentioned Beatrice. I know how things may look, but please understand I'm trying to get to the truth. I don't think your sister did this, but she may have been involved. She may have worked with someone else to orchestrate her father's death. Unlike LaFay, she didn't immediately deny it. This means that she already had her own suspicions. Where is the will, Miriam? I need to see it.
I don't know. I haven't been able to find it.
You recall that she was frantically searching William's desk earlier. She probably is telling the truth.
It should have been here, but I can't find it.
He locked the door when he began drafting it. In addition to that, the Inquisition closed the area off after the body was discovered. That means that someone took it during the lockdown.
Ink and quill. Is that Bubbly's ink?
No, it's not blue.
It was probably stolen by whoever murdered him, right?
Yeah, that would make the most sense. Which means that whoever did this wanted to nullify whatever was written on it. It's looking more and more like the motive behind this was William's inheritance. Anyways, it looks like we won't be able to find the will. But the fact that it was taken must imply something. For now, we should follow our other leads. There is also the question of who committed the murder and how.
Don't we already know the how? The murderer stole the sword of spell eating and used it to break into the study.
That's true, but think about how they would have needed to move around the manor. The murder took place on the first floor within William Frega's study. But the gallery was on the second floor. They would have needed to go upstairs, steal the sword from the gallery, and then use it to nullify the lock on the study. Not only that, they would have needed to go back upstairs and plant the sword in Beatrice's room.
About that, if someone conspired with Beatrice to do this, why would they plant the sword in her room?
That's a good point. Perhaps they had a falling out? Partner might have tried to betray her by pinning the blame on her.
But if that were true, why wouldn't she just sell them out and make a deal with Steelwind?
Would be hard to do that if you had a demon contract.
It would be because of the Slayer rule. Slayer rule? I remember the guy at the will reading also mentioned that. What was it? It was a law passed by the Crown centuries ago. According to that law, if someone is involved in another person's death, even accidentally, they will not be allowed to inherit the deceased's property.
So even if Beatrice wasn't directly responsible, she'd lose her cut of the inheritance if she took the plea deal. More importantly, it doesn't sound like Miriam completely believes in Beatrice's innocence either. If that's true, what else can she tell you? Miriam, it almost sounds like you suspect Beatrice as well.
That's...
Am I incorrect?
I don't want to think anymore. Why else would she
Many of us
me?
don't.
Wait.
Yeah, none of us
threatened?
want to think.
Miriam, did Beatrice threaten you in some way?
What? Of course not!
Your testimony yesterday was quite convenient for the defense. It almost got the whole case thrown out. And LaFay didn't seem to understand what was going on either. With the way she gave her testimony yesterday, it was almost like she was covering for you.
Does he seriously not know? Please, promise me that you won't tell anyone about this except at the court case.
I won't tell anyone. What happened?
About an hour after the murder, I was approached by Ruby Tamora. She gave me a list of statements to give in my testimony. The statements weren't true, but she assured me that my status would protect me from any scrutiny.
What?
Woo! She had information that I had tried to keep secret, and she threatened to make it public unless I cooperated with her.
No. No, she would never do that!
I'm telling the truth! But please, you can't tell Tamora that I told you. She'll ruin me.
Your eye shows that her fear is genuine. She's not lying.
I've seen that woman do all kinds of shady shit in the cases I've worked. Forgery, bribery, blackmail, you name it. I'll bet you're the scent just the same. A successor for the Devil of Defense Attorneys.
The Devil of Defense Attorneys. That name has a much...
Oh my god.
That name has a much harsher context right now.
He is Von Karma.
Oh no. Rumors, they can't be true. You refuse to believe it.
Hey, Tyrion, are you okay?
Now is not the time to doubt yourself. There's too much at stake right now. You have a job to do. We should check on Commander White. He might have found something.
Okay. Just Don't push yourself, okay?
Yeah. I'll have plenty of time to think about this later. You enter Beatrice's bedroom and see the Inquisition combing through it. Looks like their search is still focused under the bed.
Oh, hey kid.
Commander.
We're still doing a deep search of the room, but we're not done yet. We should probably come back later.
Sitting room then, I guess. As you move around the manor, you peek into the sitting room to see if Von Sanctus is still there. Oh my god!
Hello, sir.
Is this Steelwind? Hello?
Lucio?
Daddy?
Oh no.
Sir, please.
You don't see him there, but you spot another individual. He's calmly reading some sort of book? You can feel a menacing aura emanating from him.
Who should take him?
This aura. You must be daft if you think I wouldn't notice your presence.
What?
Also,
did he notice
that
you? You barely entered the room! Before you have a chance to respond, the man pulls out his great axe and rushes towards you. What? You bring your arms up to block his blow, but in hindsight, that probably won't do much against an axe that large.
Protagus!
You open your eyes. Celeste is now standing between you and the axe-wielding maniac. You're not sure what happened, but it looks like she knocked him several feet backwards.
Oh, it's you two.
What the hell was that? You could have killed him!
He shouldn't have snuck up on me like that. I almost cleaved him in two.
Tyrion didn't do anything wrong. Who the hell do you think you are?
I am Lord Lucio Steelwind, Grand General of the Wyvern Military Forces.
By the way, badass as hell.
Yeah. No, he's very cool. So this is Prosecutor Steelwind's father. They do share the same intimidating stare. Although he's not the most menacing person in the room right now. Celeste, it's fine. I'm not hurt. She looks more than irate right now, but she begrudgingly sheaths her sword. Anyway, Lord Steelwind was one of the people with the motive to murder William Frege, and as a fellow head of a pillar house, he might have some information about William and his affairs. If looks could kill.
McCoy, one might misinterpret that look of yours as murderous intent.
Aw, guess you do have some battle instincts after all.
Love Celeste!
I honestly wasn't sure, since you so obviously have a silver spoon stuck up your—
Celeste!
Such lack of disrespect and discipline. If you were one of my soldiers, I'd have you hanged.
If I was one of your soldiers, I'd hang myself.
Girl! Okay, let's all try to stay civil here. Lord Steelwind, you were here at the Lord's Ball when the murder occurred, am I correct?
I've never been happier to voice Celeste than right now.
Holy shit!
Celeste is not
I was.
Do you mind if I ask you some questions about what you saw that night? If that's okay with you.
I suppose I must oblige, considering that my daughter has so unceremoniously thrust her responsibilities onto you.
I adore, I want someone with Celeste's energy at a D&D game.
Oh
I
my
want that character
God,
at a D&D
please.
game.
Oh god, yes.
Oh my god, I love Celeste so much. God, I
Like,
would love to play a catty
Celeste-
character. That would be so fun.
Absolutely.
Celeste and Arya are just in an arms race for best girl.
Honestly, if I was playing Gil back in, like, Mineshaft's game, that's probably close to what he'd be. Unfortunately, Gil's changed a lot, but, like, God, I would love to play that kind of character.
Don't worry, I got you covered with Herrick.
Yeah, excellent. That's true, you do. You do have a bit of that energy. That's very true. Well, I'm sorry about what happened to your daughter. I'm sure you're very worried.
It's her own fault for exerting herself despite her injuries. Even the bravest warrior knows when to stay off the battlefield.
That's cute. He is still somewhat concerned for her.
How can you say that? Your daughter was trying to do the right thing.
By prosecuting the heirs of House Freyga, she had very little evidence to substantiate a conviction. If she wanted to strike a blow on a rival house, she should have been certain that her enemy would fall. But now, Beatrice Freyga is found innocent. Any hopes of an alliance between House Freyga and House Steelwind will be completely annihilated.
It's clear that he and the prosecutor have vastly different priorities.
This cast is just so good.
Yeah.
God, I just realized that his theme here is like just a more kind of like it's Arya's theme, but more I don't know,
Trumpety.
royal,
Yeah.
more pompous, kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even hear it.
I've unfortunately, the music is just so much that I've not really been able to pick up on motifs, but I believe you, because, like, yeah. Alright, well, where were you throughout the night, Lord Steelwind?
I so loathe gatherings like that. They're a complete waste of time. I was in this room, but then I received word that Lord Freyga's lost heiress had made an unexpected appearance. She was supposedly speaking with the Crown Prince, so I made my way to the ballroom.
Did you speak with him at any point?
No, I kept my distance and stayed near the King's Guard. Needed to make sure she wouldn't try anything.
Was this because you were wary of Beatrice Freyga?
Yes, I was. The Crown Prince has always been a bleeding heart, and the Freygas are trained to sharpen their tongue from birth. I needed to make sure that she wouldn't try to interfere with his engagement.
You were worried that she was going to try and take Aster back.
I was, but it was clear that wasn't her intention.
But you did overhear their conversation. What were they talking about?
The conversation was completely inane. It was all just small talk. Lady Freyga spent most of her time playing with Prince Alaric.
Right, Aster's younger brother was there too. You know that Beatrice had some role in the murder, even if she wasn't directly responsible. Did she have some unknown goal by speaking with Aster and his brother? You went to the ballroom when you heard that Beatrice had returned. Was this before or after the lockdown?
It was before the lockdown.
Sounds about right. This means that she was accounted for before the theft was reported. And did you see her leave at any point?
No. She spoke with the two princes for quite a while. She didn't leave their side until she was arrested for Lord Freyga's murder.
What? That means she was accounted for the entire night. No, she wasn't. She has a fucking familiar. But her thoughts said that she was an accomplice with William's death. Was she there to distract the Kingsguard? It's gonna be so funny if we have 3 killings where the person that had the victim killed was in a remote location.
Listen, you
Oh
want to
my
know what would
God.
be even better? What would be even better?
If it was another
Arcane
fucking...
construct!
Yeah. If it was another construct. No, it's a familiar this
Look.
time. We know that for a fact. But yeah.
Look, we have to develop drone strikes somehow.
we need to get a hand on Beatrice's fucking spell compendium, because if she has Shatter, we know that she can cast spells through her familiar. Because that is literally a thing that familiars can do. So,
He literally has a seeing eye dog.
yeah, she literally has a seeing eye dog. What that is suspiciously unseen.
What do you mean?
But is
What do
that
you mean,
Tracker?
Yeah,
if you mean
Lefay has been
suspicious?
that's what I'm thinking as well. I'm thinking Tracker is literally the wolf. Like,
What if you mean
Lefay has been looking for
suspiciously
it.
unseen? She can't see anything.
Yeah, no, Lefay has been looking for Tracker this entire time, and I'm heavily suspecting that's the dog. So, like, very clearly the dog is important. Well, thank you for answering our questions, Lord Steelwind.
I'm merely repaying my daughter's debt to you.
He was surprisingly pretty cooperative, but that doesn't lift any suspicion off of him just yet. You'll need to find more evidence if you want to know for sure. Anyways, we should probably move somewhere else. Let's go, Celeste.
Right back.
McCoy.
Pokemon for the time being.
What?
Your spellcasting is undisciplined, but your battle stance and reflexes are commendable. You have my respect as a warrior.
As if that means anything coming from you.
Oh.
What an undisciplined and defiant brat.
To be fair, she is my bodyguard, and you did try to kill me. So, you know.
By the way, I'll be honest, Celeste is just giving me the inspiration to...
Oh!
Speaking of Tracker!
Keep it in that corner. Don't let it get away.
You were saying, Pokemon?
Seeing Celeste just made me think, I really want to make an Eldritch Knight with, like, her kind of backstory.
Yeah.
What spells would be good? What's the new jump spell like? The new jump spell is honestly fucking amazing.
Ooh. I'll need to look at
Which
that later.
character, anyway?
Oh, Lefay.
Get away from him!
As you enter Beatrice's room, you see the Inquisition cornering something near the back of the room. Some sort of animal. A wolf, to be exact. Wait, is that? You recall spotting the same wolf on the night of the Lord's Ball. Has it been in the house since the murder?
Judas must protect Queen.
Must protect Queen?
No.
No, Yoda.
Oh my gosh, what did I come back to?
If you're going to do this, at least do Scooby and not Yoda.
What? Did you just
You know
read
what?
his
No.
thoughts?
Gorsh, protect territory from enemies.
Oh my god. His thoughts just keep fucking changing. So stupid bit, love it. He must see the Inquisition as intruders in his territory. Does that mean he sees this room as his home? You slowly walk towards him.
Wait, Tyrion?
Stay back, kid. It's a wild animal. There's no telling what it will do.
You ignore them and continue to approach him. Don't worry, I'm not here to hurt you.
Oh? This human, he can speak the language of a dog?
Wait, you can understand me?
Why are you talking to it?
What?
You're speaking plain dog. Of course, Tracker can understand.
What's going on here? Is the Eye of Horus allowing you to speak with him? You've never really tried it before, but perhaps your powers aren't limited to humans? Anyway, this could be a good opportunity. I wonder what else he knows.
I'm sorry.
Guess we're talking with a dog now!
I guess we're prosecuting the parrot.
Listen.
Oh my gosh, it's literally a parrot prosecution.
Tracker.
Listen, and also, I'll be completely honest. Any chance I have to use the goofy voice, I'm taking.
I mean, I'll allow it. It's not a fitting voice at all, but I'll allow it.
I mean, we have Patrick Star Judge.
That one fits, though.
That one fits Ace Attorney, Judge. It doesn't necessarily fit this judge.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. Whatever. Tracker, is that your name?
How did you?
Yes. I'll honestly give it an actual. Okay, no, I see that. I see that. I have to keep going. Yep. Tracker's Tracker. That's the name Queen gave to me.
Occupation! Dog! Dog! Love that! Tracker gestures to LaFay when he mentions his queen. He called you his queen. Do you know him, LaFay?
Yes, but how?
How are you talking to it?
That's... You were so caught up in speaking to Tracker, you didn't realize how strange the scene must look to everyone else. I'm a dog whisperer.
You've never mentioned that before.
Do you honestly expect us to believe something like that?
But Cracker says he can understand him. He told me himself.
Wait, how do you know that?
Are you a druid?
No, she probably knows the familiar spell as well. Because, hang on, I need to check that spell again. You can just make a bond, right?
Yep. The caster can telepathically communicate with the target over any distance.
Kirby,
So Tracker is her familiar.
You know what you need to do.
Oh.
You know what you need to present.
She didn't have She didn't have a bond. She didn't have a bond with him at the time. Because she lost track of Tracker. She was trying to look for Tracker. If she had a telepathic bond with him, she wouldn't have needed to look for him. She could just ask where he was.
That is true. By the way,
present the badge.
Present the badge.
Present the badge.
Tracker don't.
He got distracted by a squirrel.
Okay, I'll be honest.
Squirrel.
Just looking at like the expressions he has, the voice doesn't really fit. But then you actually read his sentences, and like, good God.
So LaFay, how are you able to communicate with Tracker?
I suppose there's no sense in hiding it anymore. Tracker is my familiar.
Familiar? So it's the same magical bond Harold has with his monkey. Recall that the familial bond spell allows the caster to telepathically speak with their familiar. That must be how she's speaking to him.
You never mentioned him during questioning.
You never asked.
It wasn't relevant to the investigation. And I've been keeping him a secret from my family.
I suppose that makes sense. I doubt William Frege would have allowed you to keep an animal in his home.
Well, I don't appreciate you keeping this info from us. But doesn't look like anyone got hurt. And aside from this dog, we haven't really found anything new.
Damn it, they didn't find any more physical evidence of the theft? Looks like you've run into another dead end. Unless... Tracker, I saw you on the night of the murder.
What?
Tracker!
Gosh!
Roll. Wait a minute, that was just the Doge face.
Holy shit! That was 2 memes in one spot.
Oh my god, I can't! This game is so fucking good!
All of these voices fit.
Oh no!
Supposed to stay in this room.
Wait, what is that? Why you won't allow the servants to enter it?
I didn't want to keep him in Beatrice's room, but he was very insistent that he stay here.
Record like it's the ambience.
And then he just does that. And then he just has a word like ambiance.
Wait, if you live in this room, did you see who brought the sword of spell eating here?
I already He asked him about it, but he didn't see anyone. He must have been taking a nap. Either that, or he was roaming outside, even though I told him to stay here.
Oh, that face!
Oh, damn it. Tracker...
Tracker see a lot of other things, though. Tracker see many new people that night.
Right, he was roaming the manor during the Lord's Ball. He must have seen a lot of new people. Wait, if he was walking around, he might have seen something that the Inquisition doesn't know about. Can you tell us what you saw on the night of the murder, Tracker?
Tracker see rats.
This may be more difficult than you thought. I need you to be more specific. Can you go in order? Tell me about everyone that you saw that night.
Okay. Tracker was breaking a nap in the room, but Tracker woke up from loud sounds outside. Trying my best to keep a consistent. I want to try going Scooby, but then it just moves back to Goofy.
Oh yeah, the shadow. Wait, hang on. What? Hang on.
Tracker hears small things running in the walls.
Running in the walls?
Tracker called Queen, but she didn't answer. So Tracker decided to check sound alone. Tracker follows sound outside. That's when Tracker smelled a bad smell.
Bad smell?
That's when Tracker smelled flying rat.
You smelled a flying rat? Did you mean like a pigeon?
Tracker could smell where Rat was, so Tracker barked at him. Tracker must have scared Rat, because he fell on the floor and dropped his stick.
The rat had a stick.
Tracker could see them now, so Tracker did one final bark to scare them off.
Hi, Felix.
The rats were
Welcome to
scared
our
and went
insanity.
back into the walls.
It went into the walls?
That's when Tracker picked up the stick the rat dropped. Queen finally answered Tracker. He told him to go back to his room and hide. After message, Tracker brings stick back to room for inspection.
Do you remember what time this encounter happened?
What is time?
Well, that's a screenshot.
I mean...
Oh my gosh, that was so great.
Right, an animal wouldn't really have a concept of that.
What did he say, Tyrion? Did he see anything?
I need to click.
Well, he definitely saw something. Okay, let's try and take a moment to work through this. Tracker's an animal, and despite being able to speak with him, his use of words is very primitive. So you should carefully examine each of his statements. The first thing he heard was small things running in the walls. You recall that someone else observed something similar that night. Harold heard rats running in the vents. No? Oh, not Harold. Fucking Tracker. Yeah, there we go. He must have heard the rats that Jan mentioned. They weren't actually running in the walls, they were running in the vents. Next thing he did was call the Queen, but she didn't answer. The Queen he's referring to is probably LaFay, but LaFay wasn't with him at the time. He must have called out to her telepathically. The familial bond was, nullified by the anti-magic. Yeah. LaFay didn't respond because she never got Tracker's message. The telepathic capabilities granted by familial bond were disabled by the anti-magic field. Which means that this encounter happened during the lockdown. That covers his first two statements, but you're not really sure what to make of the flying rat he saw. Tracker, why did you refer to the rat as flying?
Those rats don't usually jump and fly.
Yes, I got that. Is it possible that what you saw wasn't really a rat?
Rats are rats. Or small things that run and hide.
So rat is a general term for him. He uses it to refer to small animals that are acting suspiciously. If only there were another small animal in this game. Anyway, with everything you know now, his last statement doesn't make sense. He said that the Queen finally answered him, and this happened after he picked up the stick. But that shouldn't have been possible due to the anti-magic field.
It was the sword.
The stick.
The stick was actually the sword of spell eating. The stick that Tracker obtained.
Are you sure it was sort of spell eating?
Yeah, no, that would make sense, yes. Because he would be immune to the anti-magic field then, yeah. No, you're right.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Tracker, about that stick you found. Where did you put it after you came back to this room?
Tracker hide stick in safe place. Under the bed.
And this stick, did it look like the sword that my friend is carrying?
What?
Hey, your friend stole my other stick.
Wait, your other stick?
Yeah, Tracker found it while he was hiding from the Metal Man.
Metal Man? Is he referring to the Kingsguard? He must have left the bedroom when they were searching for the sword of spell eating. Wait, are you the one who stole Celeste's sword?
Tracker!
Did Tracker do bad?
It's as I suspected. Tracker was the one that brought this sword of spell eating here.
What?
I have no idea how or why, but the sword of spell eating was lying in a hallway somewhere. Tracker found it and brought it back to Beatrice's room. His room.
So the person who framed Beatrice for the theft was...
If it weren't for Tracker, the Inquisition would have never honed in on Beatrice at all. Why would the sword of spell eating be lying in a random hallway? LaFay, do you mind if I borrow Tracker for a little bit?
It's okay, Queen. He smell good. Tracker trust him.
Thanks, I guess.
Okay. But only if you allow me to accompany you.
You know about Miriam's position, but how does LaFay feel about you prosecuting Beatrice? It's possible she might try to sabotage the investigation if you let her accompany you. But as Tracker's owner, you don't really have much of a choice. You nod to LaFay. But you do also send a subtle gesture to Celeste to keep an eye on her. She silently nods and follows behind her. Alright, Tracker, can you take us to the hallway where you found these rats?
Sure thing, King.
Looks like you've received a promotion.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You're king now.
You're king!
You allow Tracker to lead you to the location where he found the sword of spell eating. Surprisingly, it's fairly close to Beatrice's room. He apparently didn't travel very far before he met those rats he mentioned. As you continue towards your destination, Tracker suddenly becomes extremely tense. Tracker, what's wrong?
Enemy.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Tracks.
Yeah, no, go on. Go on.
Before you even have a chance to react, Tracker stops between you and Eris and begins angrily barking at her.
Oh dear.
Track! Stop that!
LaFay tries to calm Tracker down, but he's undeterred. He continues to bark at Eris, and it looks like it's taking all of LaFay's strength to hold him back.
I'm terribly sorry. He's not usually like this. It's to be expected. I'm not sure why, but animals have always disliked me.
See me for what I am? What are you, Eris?
What I am.
What are you, Eris? What is Eris? You recall seeing her at the barracks, too. She said that her father is friends with Beatrice, but is she involved in this case somehow? Anyways, you came here for a purpose. You should examine this hallway and see if you can find any clues. I love that now that I have instant text, it becomes immediately clear when Eris is gonna try and do that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, no, shut up. I don't care about you. What the fuck is this? There's an air vent over here. It appears to go down from the ceiling to the ground floor. Is this where that rat escaped to, Tracker?
Oh, that's where the jumping rat went.
Thought you said it was a flying rat.
Tracker see that too.
Okay, it would probably be better to just move on. Anyways, where did this rat come from?
Rat came out from the other wall.
Do you mean the vent on the opposite side?
Yep. Tracker saw a flying rat escape that way.
What was this rat doing here in the first place?
Let me just flip the screen back.
What?
What do you see?
The vents have traces of illusion magic inside them.
What?
The traces also go deep inside these vents. It's the same for the vents on the other side, too.
Why would there be traces of illusion magic inside the vents? What spell could possibly have left traces?
As I told you many months ago, illusion spells tend to do one of two things. They either create freestanding illusions, or they can disguise an existing creature.
I doubt someone created a freestanding illusion in the vents, so a disguised creature must have been inside the vents at some point.
But those vents are tiny. No one would be able to fit inside them.
Tracker could see them. Yeah.
No. Rats were scared and hid back in walls.
But a rat would be able to fit in these vents.
Well, yeah, I guess that'd be true. But that would mean that that rat had an illusion spell active on it at the time.
It's not only that. Tracker saw this rat during the lockdown. They would have been in... Nope, that's you.
They would have been inside the anti-magic field created by the lockdown.
There could only be one way that rat could have an illusion spell active on it.
Wait, you can't mean...
That rat was holding the sword of spell eating.
Tracker's testimony.
Presented in court. Put the dog on
What?
the stand.
But how is that possible? A rat wouldn't have the strength or hands to carry the sword.
Tracker's vocabulary is primitive and limited. He uses the word rat to describe small creatures that hide and act suspiciously.
But even if it wasn't an actual rat, it still couldn't have been human, right?
You're right. It would have had to be a small animal. A small animal with the strength and dexterity to traverse a small air vent while holding a sword. Mm-hmm. What is that monkey on your back?
Sure is a monkey.
Hmm.
No, are you serious?
We know that Herald had a motive to kill William Frege. He was planning to defund the Heraldson Hall of History. They had an argument that night, and that's when William Frege decided he was going to defund Heraldson's museums. He must have struck a deal with Beatrice, and with Beatrice's portion of House Frege, he could have easily kept his museums funded. He would have faked the robbery and sent his familiar to murder William.
I can't believe this.
And there's something else that Tracker said.
Tracker could smell where Rat was, so Tracker barked at him. Tracker must have scared Rat, because he fell on the floor and dropped his stick.
Rat had a stick. Tracker, you said you had to smell to see where the rat was. And when he dropped his stick, you were finally able to see him. Does that mean that you couldn't visually see him before he fell down?
Yeah, Tracker couldn't see the rat with his eyes, so Tracker used his nose to see it.
The monkey was invisible.
This is a sentence.
What a sentence.
No one would have noticed a small invisible animal. In addition to that, he moved through the air vents. Eugene would have been nearly undetectable that night. Beatrice is a master of illusion magic, so it's possible that she cast invisibility on Eugene.
There's also someone else here that's a master of illusion magic.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Oh!
And then there's the position of this air vent.
What was that, Elena?
Take a look at the spell.
Okay, Curb.
Clap both hands together. Yep. Yep. Every time she claps her hands together, she's casting the spell.
Oh.
We're currently in the hallway just north of Beatrice's room. And this air vent connects to the ground floor. If we align the two floor maps together, this vent must lead to the storage room.
Right. The air vent there are curved upwards. This must be where it leads.
And according to Jan, that air vent led directly to William's study. It would have been the perfect route to enter William's study and leave undetected.
But he wouldn't have needed to nullify the lockdown to enter that room. Why would he need to use the Sword of Spell Eating at all?
Because of familial bond. They can telepathically communicate with each other. Harold probably needed Eugene to hold the sword so they could tell him exactly where to go. The sword's magic affects anyone magically connected to the wielder, and familial bond connects them magically. Makes sense now. Harold could have easily faked the robbery to take suspicion off of him. It's even possible that he was lying about how the display glass was shattered.
I just can't believe that he'd be involved in this.
She may have known Harold for a long time, but she's never read his thoughts. His thoughts were very hostile and rude, despite his kind expression. He's very good at hiding what he's truly feeling.
Beatrice. There's no way she'd participate in a plan like this.
Look, LaFay, I know you don't want to suspect your sister, but
It's not that. Beatrice would never trust anyone to work together like this.
she's completely blind. She wouldn't have much of a choice.
Even so, she's not the type of person to trust her accomplice to stay quiet. She'd find a way to carry out a plan herself. But she'd only employ someone else herself if she had full control of them.
LaFay probably knows her better than you do, but you doubt that working alone would be possible with their condition. And you can't think of any other way she'd be involved in this.
Anyways, we're finished here, aren't we?
Yes. Thank you for lending Tracker to us, LaFay.
I only want to help you find out what really happened. Don't make me regret trusting you, Mr. Cuthbert.
If you're truly on the side of justice, then you won't.
Good. Now, if you'll excuse me.
I have to punish this dog.
Ruh-roh!
So, that's it, right? We finally know who really committed the murder then.
And if you can get Harold to confess on the stand, he might reveal Beatrice's involvement as well. If he does that, you might be able to convince her and Miss Tamora to take a plea deal. Although knowing Miss Tamora, that will be easier said than done. Anyways, this is definitely the lead that we've been looking for.
I'm waiting for Eris to be like, oh shit. So this guy hasn't been... So Tamora didn't do well on her promise.
Mm-hmm.
Time for me to shank a bitch.
Hi, Celeste.
Thankfully, Celeste is always on edge around Eris. She knows.
Yeah.
But is it really enough? We still don't have enough evidence.
It'll have to do for now. We're running out of time. We'll just have to call Harold to the stand to testify about what he did that night. If I can push him far enough, I might be able to catch him lying. But you doubt it'll be that easy. He has a good poker face. Just how much will he be able to hide his true thoughts?
I already gave my statement to the Inquisition. Is my testimony really necessary? Sorry, old-timer. My orders come straight from the prosecutor. We're gonna need you on the stand today. I understand. I'll do what I can to help. That fucking monkey pose.
Yeah.
That monkey do be posed like a frickin' evil genius.
Alright. That's probably where we're gonna wrap things for tonight, but, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Harold Sin's the mastermind either.
Oh, absolutely not.
I think there's multiple accomplices. I think this is a much larger conspiracy at this point.
And all of it tied to the Eye Taker.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
We've got to find the mastermind.
God, this is getting so twisted. God. Well, I guess the rest of this case will have to wait until next time. But until then,
Yep.
Thank you all so very much for watching. Take care of your